Hi everyone, welcome to Emma, a true infidelity story. I'm excited to share a new story with you that I never thought I'd be standing here. Heart pounding so hard it hurt, staring at my own reflection, and questioning everything I knew about myself. But here I was. I should start from the beginning, though my name is Isabella. I'm 33 years old, and if you saw me, you'd probably think I had everything together. I have that kind of body that makes people assume my workout daily tone. But not too muscular curves in the right places, and long dark hair that falls in waves past my shoulders. But the truth is I'm not as put together as I seem inside. I'm a mess, always have been. I've spent my whole life playing it safe. Safe choices, safe jobs, safe relationships, never stepping too far out of line, never taking risks that could lead to failure. And for a long time I thought that was fine, thought I was fine. But tonight was different because tonight, my cute dog did something that shattered the illusion I had built around myself. And now I had a choice to make, one that had nothing to do with anyone else, nothing to do with society's expectations or family pressures, just me. And for the first time in my life, I had no idea what to do that. I stood there in my living room, my heart racing, hands clammy, and my thoughts a blur. I couldn't focus on anything else except the sound of my cute dog, Cooper, my German Shepherd, panting heavily beside me. He was always by my side, loyal, playful, and unbothered by the storm that raged inside my chest. But tonight it was different. His energy was the only thing I could fixate on. Should I just ignore it? Pretend everything's fine like I always do? Or should I listen to that nagging voice in my head? The one that kept telling me I couldn't keep living this way? The truth is, I didn't even know what this way meant anymore. I felt my legs go weak as the weight of my decision pressed down on me. I could hear the tick of the clock in the background. Every second dragging on longer than the last felt like time was slipping away, and I was stuck, too afraid to move forward, but terrified of staying put. Cooper's tail wagged his eyes, looking up at me like he knew I was in turmoil. Why did everything have to be so complicated? It wasn't just the decision I had to make. It was the way I had been living my whole life, too comfortable in my little bubble. Why had I let fear control me for so long? Why had I always played it safe, never pushing past the walls I had built around myself? I wasn't a coward, at least I didn't want to be. But the idea of stepping out of my comfort zone, of facing the unknown, it was terrifying. I tried to breathe deeply to push the chaos out of my mind. But it was useless. The more I thought about it, the more everything seemed to blur together. Should I just go for it? Should I step out of the safe space I'd built for myself? The clock was ticking, but I couldn't bring myself to move every moment. That pass felt like a missed opportunity. But what was the cost of staying in this place? What would I lose if I never took a chance? Cooper patted over to me, nudging my leg with his nose. And for the first time that night, I felt a glimmer of something beyond the fear. Maybe I didn't have to figure everything out right now. Maybe I could just take one small step. Just one? Would that be enough? Would I regret it? If I didn't, I couldn't keep running from it anymore. It wasn't just the fear that had me frozen in place. It was the regret of never trying, of letting myself stay in this rut I had created. Cooper's eyes met mine again, and in that moment everything felt like it clicked. It wasn't about what could go wrong. It wasn't about the fear of failure. It was about what would happen if I kept living like this. If I kept playing it safe, staying small, staying quiet. The longer I thought about it, the clearer it became. I had to do something, I had to move. I couldn't let myself become the person who never tried, who never reached for something more. But what was that more? What did it even look like? Didn't matter. I realized the specifics didn't matter anymore. What mattered was that I couldn't keep holding myself back. What mattered was the choice I had to make, and the person I would be on the other side of it. The clock kept ticking. Cooper tilted his head as if to ask, "Are you going to do this or not?" And in that moment I knew. I had to stop thinking and just act. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, but it didn't matter. I wasn't going to let the fear control me anymore. I didn't know what was ahead, but for once I wasn't going to hide from it. I was going to face it. It wasn't just about pushing myself to the edge of my comfort zone. It was about breaking free from it altogether. And no matter what happened next, I knew I had made the right choice. I didn't need the world to tell me it was okay. I needed to tell myself that. And I was ready that I closed my eyes for a moment, my breath shaky. As I stood there, the world around me was still, but inside everything felt like it was moving too fast. The doubt lingered, the fear gnawing at me, but something inside me refused to let it control me. I had made my choice. I didn't look back. The hardest part was already over, the decision itself. Now all that was left was to act, to push through the wall of fear that had held me back for so long. I opened my eyes and took another step forward, not knowing exactly what would come next, but feeling a surge of something in my chest. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was anticipation, the kind you feel when you know something big is about to happen. Cooper barked once, a sharp sound that snapped me out of my thoughts. He ran ahead, his tail wagging, and I couldn't help but laugh. I felt lighter somehow, as if with each step, I was shedding the weight of years spent living in fear. The ground felt solid beneath my feet, but my heart was racing in a way it hadn't before. I wasn't running away anymore. I was moving towards something. I could feel my body trembling, not from fear, but from the intensity of what I was doing. This was it. There was no turning back now, no more hiding behind my doubts or my whats. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was finally living in that moment. I realized something: I didn't need to have it all figured out. I didn't need to know every detail of what was ahead. What mattered was that I had taken the first step. The rest would come piece by piece. I felt Cooper nudge me again, and I looked down at him, his eyes full of excitement, as if he knew the journey we were on was just beginning. I smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over me for the first time. I wasn't afraid of the unknown, because I knew I was ready to face it, and no matter what happened next, I would be okay. The next morning, everything seemed almost the same. The sun was shining through the windows. Cooper was lounging at my feet as usual, and the world outside kept turning, unaware of the shift that had happened inside me. But I knew I could feel it in my bones. I looked at myself in the mirror, no longer seeing the person who was afraid to take a chance, afraid to change. It wasn't some dramatic transformation. There was no instant victory, no grand moment of success. But there was something quieter, something deeper, a sense of peace that I had never known before. I had made a choice, a simple, terrifying choice, and that choice had already begun to change me. I wasn't perfect, I didn't have all the answers, and I still had so much to figure out. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was on the right path. Not because everything was falling into place, but because I was finally taking control. I wasn't waiting anymore for someone else to give me permission to live the life I wanted. Cooper stretched beside me, his tail thumping softly against the floor, and I couldn't help but smile. He had no idea what was happening in my mind, but he was a reminder of how simple it could be to take that first step. No hesitation, no looking back. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was just existing. I was living. It wasn't perfect, it might never be, but that was okay. I had finally learned that it wasn't about perfection. It was about the courage to keep moving forward, even when you don't know where you're going. And that was enough. For the first time, I understood that, and that was all I needed. If this story resonated with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us craft more engaging stories for you.